is up? Welcome to another Dark Ride Dracula Top 10 Spooky List. This time, oh man, the top 10 possession films. I had to enlist the help here of Sister Amy simply because I don't want to get possessed, demonicized, poltergeisted.
Don't want to get poltergeisted.
Whatever. So all the lights are on, and I've got the Sister Amy here with us so that, for my safety and for yours, because I care about you guys. Possession films are they're definitely some of the scariest films ever.
Yeah, of all the
They're
horror...
usually great, too.
Yes. Of all the horror subgenres, I honestly think possession movies are my favorite.
Yeah.
Just because they're pretty much always good. They're always at least creepy, because they have that creepy theme to it. The fact that this stuff could be real.
Yeah,
What's
and there's so many of them that, we had to really narrow it down, and I'm sure you guys will have some opinions of your own, and that is what that comment box is for. But
we purposely leave some stuff out so you guys can talk to us.
That's it. All right, so let's get right into the list. At number 10, what do we got?
1986 classic Witchboard, starring Tawny Kitaen.
Witchboard. I love that movie. That's a straight-up classic. Not just because of Tawny. Yes, Tawny Kitaen is beautiful.
Yes.
And she was super nice when I had the chance to hang out with her. Very, very nice woman. And Witchboard is just a straight-up classic. I discovered that film because my mom... It had nothing to do with Tawny. It had to do with the fact that my mom was totally into the guy that was in that film.
Yeah, from...
The one who gives Tawny the board. He was a character on Days of Our Lives called Patch back in the day.
So you both had a vested interest.
Yeah,
in
my
this movie.
mom
You're
had
like,
a thing
sure,
for
watch
him.
it.
So she was like, I gotta rent this. And so that was in my house, and I can remember watching that movie, and it was totally creepy. She's totally
really
terrifying. Nothing like you see in the Whitesnake video.
Much different than Whitesnake videos.
It's very ominous and spooky. There's a lot of creepy scenes. She's got a low, evil voice, and she totally gets possessed by a Ouija board. And if you take nothing away from this list, it's the fact that Ouija boards are terrifying. I was just recently in Barnes & Noble, and there was buying Scary Monsters magazine, and you should too. And in the family game section for the holidays, because now everything's Christmas, there's, Connect 4, Uno, and Ouija right there set up in the front. And I'm like, who the hell is buying their kids Ouija boards for Christmas? If you got me a Ouija board for Christmas, I'd be like, get out. Don't come to my house
Italian
with
families don't do that kind of stuff.
No, we don't. We do not let that in the house. There's a reason why the Vatican is in Italy, and we don't mess around with that stuff.
And not the Ouija board manufacturing company.
Exactly. Although I grew up not far from there. Parker Brothers in Massachusetts. Unbelievable.
That's
crazy that is even still like a thing. People are still like, you watch all these films and yet they still make Ouija boards and they're still messing with them. I don't know. I don't mess with that stuff.
I
don't mess with it. I'm a grown-ass Italian man. I'm not going to sit there messing around with a Ouija board. I'm just not doing it.
One of my friends growing up messed with one, and her basement was terrifying from there on out. Like, we used to hear people running up her steps, and, like, we watch a little TV down there. It would get shut off, and, like, you hear,
stuff.
really... And I was terrified for the longest time to sleep in her house after she'd done mess with a Ouija board by herself, straight out of a movie. So, yeah. Don't mess with Ouija boards.
Yeah, I can remember, we've all got these stories. I'm sure you do, too. When I was in
and leave them in the comment box below. I love reading this stuff.
I remember, the kids were all messing around, kids in my school, messing around with the Ouija board, and this one girl was supposedly talking to, like, her dead uncle or some shit, and then the lights went out, and it was totally dark, and the power went out. It was crazy, and I remember being terrified, like, I'm never going to mess with this stuff. So, no good. Witchboard, creepy movie, underrated classic. There's follow-ups to that. There's like the sequels, like Witchboard 2, The Devil's Doorway with Amy Dolenz. Great film. And there's also like Witch Trap and stuff. But Witchboard, the original, scary, scary film. Love it. Total classic. Check it out if you've never seen it. It's a great movie. It's an 80s underrated gem.
Classic.
And we love those. Yeah. Brings us to number 9. At number 9 on the list, this one, a brand new film. We just seen this a couple weeks ago. It's still in theaters.
Yeah.
And it was great.
It really was.
It was a really good movie.
It really was.
Pray for the Devil.
Yes. I was, again, I love possession movies, so I was already all in when I saw that they were finally making one
This
of
was
these.
you. As soon as this was advertised, it's like, let's go see Pray for the Devil.
There's so many horror movies that just came out with October just going by, and they all sucked. But this one was pretty good. It
was pretty good.
And I was like, you know what, this needs to go on the list. It's, this girl...
Barbarian was also very good.
Barbarian was good, but we'll figure out another list to put that on. But yeah, it was really good. It was really creepy. There's a lot of really creepy imagery.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat because it's this girl who's, obviously she's in the sisterhood because they don't want a woman performing exorcisms because that's just how, the Vatican does things. But, she's...
Italian men being Italian men.
Yeah, no. So she decides that she would like to, try to.
If you were
break
possessed,
boundaries.
would you want a big Italian guy to come and get that demon out, or would you want some dainty little female trying to deal with the devil?
I'm not trying to step my gender back or anything, but when we're dealing with demons,
relax.
anything else, but we're dealing with demons, I'm gonna need somebody a little physically intimidating.
Yeah, Pray for the Devil was a great film. Great storyline. Kept us interested from start to finish.
Yes.
And just fantastic movie. Loved it. Check it out if you haven't yet. Pray for the Devil at number 9. Brings to number 8. What do we have, Sister Amy?
Number 8 is going to be The Last Exorcism, which is an Eli Roth movie.
Yeah, that one. That's got the scary cover art with the
in the
twisted
corner and everything.
Thing and the, dude, I don't like that.
Nah, dude.
I don't like when they do that. You know what I mean?
that one's a creepy one.
Contorted body stuff. Yeah.
And that one's kind of cool because it takes a little bit of a different approach than a lot of exorcism movies do, where obviously, there's a small town girl that gets possessed, but the priest that's going in to help them, he actually kind of, for lack of a better term, performs like bogus exorcisms, just, going into situations where people believe that they're demonically possessed when it could just be some other kind of health ailment, or, some kind of mental problem that they have.
And on the salts.
Yeah, be on the salts. And he goes in and just kind of gives them peace of mind, and usually things calm down. However, in this case, it's obviously something demonic, or it wouldn't be the Last Exorcism. Yeah. But, he finds himself...
But it really wasn't the Last Exorcism.
No, there's been
plenty
more. There's been so many
then.
after, which I'm glad, because I love those movies, so I'm fine with that. But
these exorcisms are like Kiss's farewell tours.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Motley Crue's. This is the last.
The last one.
Last. And then the next to last exorcism.
And we're serious this time.
Yeah.
It's really the Last Exorcism. And then there's going to be an exorcism cruise, right?
Yeah.
Is that how it goes?
Probably.
But,
great movie, though.
Yeah,
great movie. Straight up classic.
It's great, and it gets, it doesn't go the way that you think it's going, and then it gets really scary really fast. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
At number 8, I can't recommend it. I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't, that's one to go see.
Yes.
Just off the cover art alone, you got to watch this thing. It's crazy. The Last Exorcism at number 8. That brings us to number 7. At number 7, from the Paranormal Activity series, Next of Kin. This is one you don't hear anything about, and you should, because in my opinion, it's the best of the Paranormal Activity series.
And I love the Paranormal Activity series. I think
do
there's
too.
only one in there that I wasn't crazy about, but honestly, I love that. I love jump scares. I love demonic stuff, and
the storyline's great.
It really is. It's about this, not to give too much away, but it's about a girl who was orphaned, and she's trying to find her mother, and it leads her to this Amish community, and it's
right there, it's terrifying.
Not at all what you think. I mean, now that
Amish,
you know that it's
scary.
On a possession list, you might have some kind of idea, but yeah, it's one of those like slow building horror movies where like just really weird imagery over and over again that and it all culminates to this really crazy plot twist, and it's a great movie.
Yeah,
definitely,
it is a great movie.
Definitely check
that one out.
And
if you've ever driven through the backwoods of Pennsylvania through Amish country, especially at nighttime, you'll understand why it's terrifying.
It's pitch black out there.
And they're out there playing Amish games and like
they play volleyball.
Yeah,
they're
in the
volleyball
dark.
Enthusiasts.
Like who does that in the dark? Only possessed people. All right, so that's it. There you go. Next of Kin. That's a great one. My personal favorite of the Paranormal Activity series.
Definitely.
All good, but that one's great. There you go. Number 7 brings to number 6. At number 6, Ouija 2. Not the first one. Ouija 2, Origin of Evil.
Yeah, we skipped over this one for a while.
Yeah, it took a while to watch this one.
Thinking it was going to be like one of those uncorked films, honestly, because you see it in like Redbox.
Like Ouija Puss.
Ouija Puss.
Ouija Shark. There is a Ouija Shark. It's like,
I think, it's ridiculous.
There's so many of them, like, Ouija doll and all these different things that are terrible. You kind of get used to the name being overused and saturated,
The Ouija thing's really overused, but this particular film, it's directed by Mike Flanagan, and if you're familiar with him at all, you'll know that he's, responsible for Midnight Mass, The Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor, and you know that he works closely with the same actors over and over again, like the guy that played the little kid in E.T. and a couple of other actors and actresses, and he knows exactly what to do with them every time, and this movie's no exception, and honestly, this one particular scene in there is one of the scariest little kid horror movie things I've ever seen.
Yeah, you screamed several times during this film.
I screamed when I saw this. It freaked me out.
You scream a lot.
I do. And
You're a screamer.
I'm a screamer. And this particular scene scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
It really freaked me out. And that one's stuck with me for a little bit. Normally I'm the kind of person that I can watch a horror movie right before bed with the lights off and roll over and go right to sleep. I've just seen so many of them at this point in my life.
I don't know, man. You know.
No, I'm just
kind
saying
of
most horror movies
not
don't
this one.
bother me to
Not this one.
No, that's
this
my
is one
point.
of those keep the lights
No,
on
this
movies,
is one of those
yeah.
I need to watch Alf for a little bit before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that one's scary
good.
as hell.
Ouija 2, Origin of Evil. If you've never checked that one out, don't let the name fool you, man. It's
Yeah.
a great, great horror movie. Brings us to number 5. At number 5 on the list. This one's a more recent film, and you know, we weren't sure what to expect going into this one, but The Dark and the Wicked. Fantastic movie.
It was.
Netflix film. And, you know, we'd seen the cover art, watched the trailer, and, you know, it looked like it might have been like something like The Witch or like one of those.
Very
you know,
a very cinematic kind of.
Where you got to think about what's happening. I'm not really sure.
Subliminal horror.
You know, there might be a goat in it. You know what I mean? It's that kind
I mean,
of
if
film.
they bring Black Phillip back, I'm cool with that.
But that movie's a roller coaster ride, and it's like got a lot
starts
of
off
scary.
scary.
Yeah, that is a scary film.
It does not.
A few times I was like, oh. A few times, you know what I mean? Like, and when I go, oh, in a movie, you're like, all right, there's a little, what's going on? That's a lot. You know, that was a lot to take in, that movie. It was some scary stuff, and I just made my parents watch it. And I haven't heard from them in a couple of days, so we're gonna have to see what's up with that.
We're gonna have to call them.
Dark and the Wicked, though, great movie on Netflix. If you have Netflix, and I'm sure you probably do, check that one out if you haven't. Great film. Loved it.
Really
Number 5. And what's cool too about, you know, this genre of film, before we get back into the list, is just the fact that they keep making good stuff. Like a lot of these films are newer films, which is nice. It's not all just straight up classics. We're both old school monster kids. Obviously, you know that from this channel. We love the old classic monsters, the original stuff. But
most of this list is from the 2000s.
We wanted to do this because, you know, a lot of people say, modern horror is crap, and it's not true. There's a lot of good stuff in there. And that's one of them. Dark and the Wicked at number 5. That brings us to number 4. Sister Amy. What do we got?
That is The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That was from 2005.
Scary movie.
So it's, you know, it's now, oh Jesus, 17 years old now.
Right?
But that movie was really terrifying, and it came out at a time there wasn't like, we didn't hit like that wave of where a lot of possession movies and stuff. Like this is like right at the beginning of that. And she, you know, this particular movie, it's told from like the perspective of a court case that's going on. Because it is based on a true story. What was her name? Annalise Michel. Or Michel, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. She was a young German girl who was possessed. Then, of course, she, you know, her loved ones sought out an exorcism.
The real
for her.
case of that, if you read it and stuff,
is
terrifying. Yeah.
It is.
Watch your mouth, sister.
Yes. Ooh, I gotta remember I'm wearing the clothing. Lord is not happy about me wearing this, and he's made it very apparent today. So I'm gonna watch myself. But yes, that movie, it's told from, you know, the father who performed the exorcisms, you know, his trial, and he's telling the story of what happened because she did die. He did not successfully exorcise her.
Yeah. And
it's a really terrifying film, and visually it's so scary.
Yeah.
It really freaked me out when I saw it, and I think we watched it a couple years ago again, and it held up.
I know, that's the thing. Like, a lot of these films too have really good rewatch value.
Yeah, they really do.
Sometimes you watch certain films, you watch it once, you're done with it. But these films,
forget, like,
you know, every once or twice, you know, once a year, every couple of years, you put these back on, and you're like, yeah, you know what, I still like this stuff. Yeah, that one, scary movie for sure. A lot of creepy imagery in that one. Exorcism of Emily Rose at number 4. It brings to number 3. At number 3, my home country, the Vatican Tapes. This one,
terrifying. Now, I mean, obviously, the whole, like, Vatican Tapes title is referring to that there's supposedly, like, this archive underneath the Vatican that houses all of, like, the most terrifying stuff imaginable, as well as other things, you know, who can imagine what's under there at this point. But,
cannolis.
If it's cannolis, I'm breaking it. But, forgive me. But, this movie, it's excellent. It's, you know, it takes place in the United States, but obviously anytime you need an exorcist, you gotta get one usually from the Vatican, or it obviously has to be approved from the Vatican, even if they're not sending their own representative over, for lack of a better term. So what happens is this, you know, totally normal couple, They are living their lives. The girl has her birthday party. She gets cut, ends up in the hospital for just like a minor cut on her hand. Somehow she gets injected with some weird kind of serum or whatever, and she ends up back in the hospital in a coma for 40 days, and they're just about to pull her off of life support. And all of a sudden she makes this miraculous recovery. And they're like, well, that's kind of weird. But that's when all the crazy stuff starts happening, because she's obviously not fine.
Yeah.
So that's when it's the imagery in this. I mean, I know we keep referencing that, but that's a great part about these films is demonic possession opens up the doorway for like the scariest cinematography you will ever see.
Yeah.
And this movie's no exception. It's from 2015, and it's excellent.
Yeah, no, I loved it. Vatican Tapes is a great movie. I own all of these except for the number one on Blu-ray, because they you know, to me they're the kind of films you have to watch in the highest possible. Yeah. You know, just and that movie was
ridiculous.
So good. Vatican Tapes. That's an underrated film, and a few of these are, a few of them aren't, but like that one, I can remember reading people were like, the bad reviews and shit on it.
People love writing off stuff like that.
When I watched it, I went, "You're crazy." This
well, that's the kind of
great.
stuff that would like end up in Redbox.
Yeah.
Or just like, you know,
so
on
good.
Tubi or something like that. But like these movies, we're helping you sort them out. These are the really, really good ones. And trust me when I tell you that we are quick to turn off any movie that looks stupid, crappy CGI. Like, we're really critical with this stuff. And these movies are excellent.
Yeah, that was a great movie. At number 3, Vatican Tapes brings us to number 2. At number 2 on the list, The Possession.
Yes, that movie, it's got Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it, which a lot of ladies love from The Walking Dead. So at the very least, check it out for him, even though he just plays a dad with a possessed daughter in it. So it's not the hottest role. But
I don't think you should be talking about hotness, sister. Okay?
I know.
All right.
I think we both know that this is from Spirit Halloween. But
The Possession.
Yeah, I mean, this one, you know, it's an more original kind of an idea that a lot of movies started to borrow from after this, and this is where you bring in the Dybbuk box.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying, and I didn't know what a Dybbuk box was before this. And they supposedly, they find one at a yard sale, which anytime you pick up something creepy at a yard sale, you gotta be careful.
My mother used to say that all the time when I would bring weird shit home. She'd be like, "Oh, you gotta smudge it, you know, because you don't know what kind of energy's on it." You know, hi, Mom. And
did you ever smudge any of that stuff?
No. You
never learned.
This is why I got poltergeisted. You know?
You got poltergeisted because you didn't smudge your stuff.
Yeah, the possession. I remember seeing that too. With the yard sale element, really got to me.
You're like, "Oh, cool!"
That's interesting.
Then you're like,
you know,
maybe my mom's on to something.
They made a bunch of, you know, copycat movies. There was like the Dybbuk box and the
there's like the one where it's like a
Dybbuk shark. There was like a
Dybbuk
shark box. There was a whole bunch of different other things.
I don't think there was a shark Dybbuk box movie.
It totally was, man. Totally was.
If not, there should be.
It was on Tubi.
I'm actually gonna watch
The Possession, though, like that one, that was like kind of what brought that whole thing in.
Yeah, that one's really terrifying.
Yeah, and I mean, I can remember watching that in the theater and just sitting there like, you know, like there's a lot of like creepy parts in that movie.
Yeah, and like the tone of the whole film, like just like the natural coloring of
and you think to yourself too. I mean, it depends if you believe if you're a. See, I'm from the north, so I'm from Warrenville. It's Ed and Lorraine Warrenville, where I'm from.
And Lovecraft.
And Lovecraft, and I mean, but especially Ed and Lorraine Warren. So I mean, I grew up, you know, 20 minutes from the Conjuring house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where the Conjuring house was. I grew up 40 minutes from Salem, and where, you know, Ouija boards are made in the factory and all the witch stuff. So I mean, it's in the Warrens lived in Connecticut, and I would go over there to the, you know, it was like it's like an epicenter of this stuff. So it depends on which side you believe in, whether or not you believe in like that whole cursed objects and, you know, things that could be like the Annabelle doll and stuff. We could have put all of those movies on here, like The Conjuring and Annabelle Comes Home, and Insidious, and, you know, all of those things too. But
you guys know about those.
Yeah,
and
if you believe in that stuff, that things could have, like my mom does, energy and possession and, you know, things having a certain attachment to an object. It makes perfect sense how you could go to a yard sale, you know. It makes you think. You go to the yard sale and you see like an old creepy doll sitting there and it says free on the side. It's like, why is that free? Why are you charging at least $1? What are you doing? You know?
Most people know not to pick up a creepy doll from. But then again, you actually can make if you
but
have...
define what a creepy doll
you
is.
have a-
Raggedy Ann is the real Annabelle. Is Raggedy Ann a creepy doll?
It is now. But
But it
the
wasn't.
point is, you can actually sell haunted dolls on eBay for a lot of money.
Yeah, you can also sell panties too. eBay, you can't even count that. Let's not even get into that. We're talking about
I'm
cursed
just
objects.
saying, it's very possible for objects to be cursed. I believe in it.
You know, I mean, that's the thing. Do you believe in it? If so, I want to know. Put it down there in the comment box. But
It's starting to slide off, so we got to get
that's going
ourselves
to bring
to
us
number
to the
one.
number one spot. And at number one, we're just going to run right through this because I
Y'all
don't
know
even
what
want
it
to talk
is.
about it. You know it, and I know it, and it's
I'll
always
talk
going to
about
be
it.
No, let's not talk about it.
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist, scariest film of all time.
He can't handle it at all.
No, I don't like that movie. Even to this day.
Like the Horror Hound issue that has her on the front, he put a sticker with a smiley face over it so that he could still read the issue and not be scared.
Yeah, I don't like that. That movie.
It's terrifying. The first time I saw it, just to add a little content, you know. I saw it in 6th grade, me and my friend Cody. We watched we rented 2 movies from Blockbuster because we were renting. My aunt let us rent 2 movies because we were going to watch my younger cousins for her while she went out for a little bit. And we decided that it was time to watch The Exorcist. So we put it on, and we get, you know how the first, hour or so, it's kind of drags a little bit, story building, but then there's that part where she's sitting in the armchair, and her face, turns for the first time, and she growls. I shut that off so fast. I was like, nope. And we watched something I don't even know, whatever was probably on Nickelodeon at the time, and shut that shit off.
You can't do that though.
No.
You can't switch from that to. I've tried that. You can't switch from that to Nickelodeon because the face is still in your head.
Yeah. Well, that's what the flashing of the Captain Howdy face was to do
Yeah, I don't
exactly
like that.
that.
I don't like
But
that.
the Captain Howdy face is still not the scariest thing in the movie.
Well, it's one of them. The whole thing's scary.
I know, but once you see her spider crawl down the steps, you can't think of anything
Now, see,
else.
I didn't see that at first. When I
Neither did
saw
I.
OG Exorcist, that wasn't in it. But
when they were we added it, I'm like,
I thought I was a badass when I was a kid. Me and my cousins were and that movie came back out with the version you never seen. I was like,
I got
go
this.
see this shit. I'm gonna go. So we went to the movie theater.
hour and a half later.
And that spider crawl scene came down the stairs, and then it goes black for a second. I screamed out, scared the shit out of the movie theater. Myself, everybody. It was that was a terrifying scene, man. I was not ready for that.
Dude, I can't. To this day, and then when we went to a haunt last month where somebody was crawling around that kind of.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope. I screamed and I ran through that scene.
Dude,
I
that
couldn't
movie,
handle it.
the whole thing behind it, the whole cursed film thing, all this stuff, the
Everything
bad
about
things
it.
that happened, the fact that
Yeah,
some
dude.
of the actors got injured during
Yeah,
the
Ellen
making of it.
Burstyn, sustained lifelong injuries, and William Friedkin's like, no, roll, keep rolling.
It comes out around Christmas time, and you got some little girl stabbing herself in the crotch with the
The
cross.
day after Christmas in 1973,
the whole,
The Exorcist comes
whole-
out.
Wasn't it before Christmas?
No, December 26, 1973, it came out.
I don't do this.
Terrifying.
But just all the different things. You're like, nah, bro. I don't want to watch this. This is not good. This is a crazy film, and when you watch it, you get that icky feeling.
Oh.
And I've met people, from just in horror community and stuff that are this is their favorite movie. They're all about The Exorcist. They put Reagan in their house.
What scares me.
They put those Reagan dolls in the house so they can
There's
decorate
people
their
that
house.
movie's funny. I'm like,
I saw this one guy who collected just Exorcist stuff. His whole house, bro. He's got Reagan on the couch like this. He's got all the dolls and figures, and his whole room's Exorcist. I'm like, how do you go in that room?
Sleep.
And he goes in there and chills in that room. I'm like, what? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You can tell that guy's not Italian at all. You know what I mean? He's Irish.
Irish people love messing with shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. His name's Anthony or something. If he ever comes across this video, what the hell is wrong with you, bro?
Stop doing that. It's bad for you.
Yeah, it's no good. Yeah, I don't know.
Smudge yourself.
Yeah, smudge yourself. Go smudge yourself. That's it. That's going to do it for this list. I can't talk about
We gotta
this
go
anymore.
get some holy water.
That's it. We got to get the holy water. And, before we get poltergeisted and possessed and everything else. That's it. What possession film would you have put on the list? We want to know. Put it down there in the comment box below. And we will see you for another, hopefully way less spooky episode here on Dark Red Dracula.